in this episode of Mind Pump. So in this episode, we talk a lot about fitness and working out and getting lean and building muscle.
Oh, you betcha.
But we also talk about our lives and current events. And that's what we do in the first 46 minutes of this episode, which is the introductory portion of this episode. Here's what we talked about. We started by talking about getting into trouble as kids, bad words, dirty magazines, smoking cigarettes.
Oh, man.
We were naughty kids.
We were wild.
Then Justin talked about enjoying the Four Sigmatic coffee. He's a coffee fanatic.
I'm a bit of a snob, Sal.
Some people would say he's addicted, but he actually enjoyed the coffee from Four Sigmatic, which is infused with medicinal mushrooms to make his caffeine high that much better.
Yeah.
Now, Four Sigmatic is one of our partners, and they do make exceptional supplements based off of medicinal mushrooms like chaga, reishi, lion's mane mushroom, cordyceps, and more. And we have a discount for you. If you go to foursigmatic.com, that's FOURSIGMATIC.com/mindpump, and use the code mindpump at checkout, you'll get 15% off. Then Justin talked all about his wonderful time in Tahoe with his friends.
Oh, man.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, it was fun for a minute.
And then we talked about Fortnite. Apparently, Fortnite shut down. Something that, it might be a publicity stunt. Adam thinks it's connected to China, so we talk a little bit conspiracy theory there. We talked about Korn's new album. Apparently, it's heavy as hell.
You guys got to check it out, man. I'm impressed.
And Justin said it was even better than Tool. That's kind of crazy.
Ooh, controversy.
We talked about Adam's braggadocious squatting. He's trying to challenge me. It's pretty annoying. I talked about how heavy I'm getting because I'm getting kind of heavy, which prompted us to talk about Justin eating all the fucking skinny dipped almonds again.
Of course.
Every damn time. Anyway, the holiday season is upon us, so Skinny Dipped is coming out with their extremely popular peppermint flavor, peppermint chocolate. They're amazing. And of course, we have a discount for you with Skinny Dipped. If you go to skinnydipped.com/mindpump and use the code mindpump, you'll get 20% off. Then I talked about how in the next year or two, police officers are going to have an effective marijuana breathalyzer test. Uh-oh, Adam. That's going to suck.
Watch out, stoners.
And then we talked about how somebody over the weekend broke the 2-hour mark for a marathon. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a 4-minute mile for 26 miles in a row. That person's crazy.
That's insano.
Then we did the fitness portion of this episode. This is where we answer questions asked by our audience on our official Mind Pump page. The first question, this person wants to know what we think about Squatober. This is where you squat every single day, and apparently it's supposed to be good for you. So we give our opinion on that.
Red Rover, Squatober.
Next question, this person wants to know if it's feasible to do a bikini competition for the very first time in only 6 months, and this person says that they're overweight and out of shape. So in other words, they're overweight, out of shape.
Can I get my shit together really fast?
6 months, can I compete in a bikini competition? We give our raw opinion on that question right there. Next question, this person wants to know what we think about fitness conventions. We like them, but they're also annoying. And the final question.
That sums it up.
This person wants to know what is in store for 2020. So we give you a little peek in terms of what Mind Pump is doing for the year 2020.
Take a look.
Also, this month, MAPS Anabolic, our most popular muscle building and metabolism boosting program. This is the MAPS program, the workout program that started it all. It's extremely effective. It's great at building strength. It's phenomenal boosting metabolism and building muscle.
Gets you all choked up.
We made it 50% off. And by the way, it won't be 50% off again until next year. Here's how you get that discount. Go to mapsred.com. That's MAPSRED.com. And use the code RED50, RED50, no space, for the discount.
And it's t-shirt time.
Oh, shit, Doug. It's my favorite time of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
We have 4 winners this week. We have 3 for iTunes, 1 for Facebook. The iTunes winners are Liza Bam, KJ Hogan, Shane Lowell, 15. For Facebook, we have Emmanuel Aristeo Sandoval. All of your winners send the name I just read. Include your shirt size, your shipping address. Send it over to iTunes at mindpumpmedia.com, and we'll get that shirt right out to you.
Tell your mom you're a winner.
Do you remember when you were a kid?
It's your stupid face.
So fucked up.
When you used to say stuff like
remember,
that.
yeah, when you were a kid and you try to come up with like a really like bad come back or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you didn't say bad words yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a stupid face.
You have a dumb head.
Dumb head, and your mom sucks.
Whoa.
Whoa, dude.
No, I didn't do that when I was a kid.
That escalated fast.
I went. I usually went that far.
Huh?
Yeah.
Did you guys do this? Did you go through a phase like this where the first time you realized you could curse and you wouldn't get in trouble because nobody's around? You just said bad words all the time.
I got in
Yeah,
school.
I turned into Tourette's immediately.
I got in school suspension.
In-house or whatever?
Yeah. So where they keep you there all day long, and then my mom had to come down. I was in third grade. I'll never forget this. We were, before school. If you were the kids that your parents dropped you off early, or you walked to school hella early like me. The first half hour you were playing sports. So you're playing soccer or basketball or wiffle ball, and we're playing wiffle ball, baseball on the asphalt, and it happens to be right next to the principal's office, and I don't know that they have the office window open. And they're sitting in the office, and we're out playing, And at that age, the sentences don't even make sense. It's just every other, word is a cuss word.
Right.
Because you're trying to be cool.
Yeah, trying to be cool. Yo, throw the fuck shit ball this way, motherfucker. Like just stupid shit, right? This doesn't make no sense. And swearing.
How can I insert this? In
Yeah,
every-
totally at that age where I've picked up these words, I'm inserting it into my daily life. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I'll never forget the office lady coming out. She comes like stomping over, and she looked like your, big hair with gray hair.
She
and
looked like a cafeteria lady?
Yeah, she looked like the teacher cafeteria lady that you pictured in the 80s or whatever.
Yeah.
You
That
know?
was like my sex ed teacher.
And she comes over
Wow.
and she grabs me by the
She's
elbow.
great.
And then I still remember that death grip she put on my elbow, man. She grabbed me by my elbow. And
What'd you say? Let go, bitch.
no. I mean, I knew I was in trouble right away. Like, right.
You imagine you say, bitch, let go.
I was like a wannabe.
now you're in for
I was a
it.
wannabe bad kid. I wasn't that bad. Like I was like this once I got called out, and she pulls me. I was probably crying before I even hit the office.
Here's how I knew that my kid was a goody two shoes. I don't remember how old he was. He might have been third grade or something like that. And he comes home from school. I'm like, hey, how was school? And we're talking this and that. And I'm like, what's the matter, buddy? And he's like, someone said a bad word today. And I'm like, what? What was it? And he's like, I don't want to say it. Like, you can tell me. I'm like, listen, you can tell me and you won't get in trouble. You could say the word and you won't get in trouble. He's like, I don't want to say it. It's a bad word. I don't want to say it. It's really bad. And I'm like, well, can I spell it? Can you help me spell it? I said, what letter does it start with? And he's like, I don't want to tell you. I'm like, just tell me the letter, buddy. You're fine. He's like, S. So I'm like, must have said shit or something. Someone must have said shit or something like that. So I'm like, can you sure just tell me like, and so I was back and forth and finally he's like, okay, I'll tell you. And he like gets real quiet and he goes, stupid. I was like, wow, that was the bad word.
You might not want to say that so loud.
I was like, I was way more advanced than you were at your age. Kid. I was thinking of all kinds of S.
And
Yeah.
how old is he at this time?
He must have been in third grade.
Third grade. I was saying all the bad words already.
Oh, dude, I was
yeah.
I was terrible.
Then I got in trouble in fourth grade because my uncle this was like, I mean, we're at fourth grade. How old are you in fourth grade? You guys know how old we are? Third grade going into
Justin
fourth
was 17.
Yeah. I had to repeat a few times.
Yeah, all the rest of us.
Yeah.
All the rest of us are like 10, right? Or 9 or 8. What is that? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Full beard.
But whatever age it was, I remember my uncle, which, by the way, works for the company, that uncle.
Oh, that guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Good times.
All right.
So you can imagine, he shows me at that age, what a bad uncle he does this, right? You guys have to bring this up the next time we're in our marketing meeting. He shows me strip poker on his computer.
Yeah.
And of course, fourth grade boy, I'm like enamored by this naked girl on the computer screen.
What?
And-
What a terrible person.
You're in fourth grade?
Not even that. It gets better, bro. He prints it off. This is like when printers were just like coming on board here. He prints it off for me. So I have a black and white printout of this naked chick. And like we've talked about before.
Oh, it's like gold
It's
mine.
fourth grade. It's gold.
Oh, that's worth a bike.
Bro, I kept that.
At
I
least.
kept that with me for months.
No wonder you're the way you are.
Yeah.
There's so many lessons. So many things make sense right now.
That was a very
months-
impactful moment
For
you.
months, I had this thing and brought it to school every day and showed all my guy friends and everything. Like
Same picture?
Same picture. The same picture every day, showing it to friends.
And each day like, ooh.
And I eventually, because I had it in my back pocket.
People rent it from you.
Yeah, no, it was like that, dude. It would be like friends would be like, "Hey, can I look at that picture today?" Yeah. Fold it, pass it in class.
Just don't get caught.
So I never got caught at school with it, but I did forget it in my back pocket. My mom did the laundry. My mom did the laundry, and out comes.
Did you out your uncle?
Of course, I think I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I did. She already hated it. She already hated my uncle, anyways.
Dude,
Yeah, so it was like the easy thing. Mom, I didn't even want it. He made me take it.
Start crying. He made me take it. Get him in trouble.
Yeah.
I almost got my dad in. Well, I did get him in big trouble years ago because remember I told you guys when I was a kid I would go to work with him in the summers. So I'm like, I don't know how old I am. I'm probably 11, and he'd take me to work with him in the summers. And in his work van, in the middle of the work van in the front, there was this wooden box, and that's actually what I sat on. By the way, that was my fucking chair while we're driving on the freeway. And I'm not making this up.
Oh, I've done something.
I'm not making this up. My seatbelt was a rope. This is a true story. And I remember
Super safe.
I remember asking him about this. I'm like, "Are you sure this is a seatbelt?" And he's like, "It'll hold you because it's a rope." You know? And it would have held me, right? But anyway, that was my fucking chair. But in the box, you could open it, and then he would store certain things in there, like sponges or stuff that he would need for work. Well, I must have been 11, and I went in there one time because I was bored. You know, my dad's working. I didn't really help him at that age. I just kind of watched. So I was just outside doing whatever, breaking old tiles and stuff. And then I go in the box and I dig in there. At the bottom is a dirty magazine. So I'm like, wow, this is awesome. So then my cousins, whose dads do the same work, they came to work with their dad. So now we're all hanging out. Our dads are all doing work. I'm out there with my cousins. So I'm like, you guys want to see something? It's like, yeah. So I take them out there, show them my dad's, dirty magazine. It was like the greatest thing ever. Well, anyway, my cousin is a fucking big mouth. So I get home, this is later on or whatever, and my mom takes me, this is at dinner. We're all sitting around dinner. My mom sends my siblings to go play. She goes, "You stay here, Sal." So I'm like, okay. So it's just me, my mom, and my dad. And she goes, what did you find? What were you showing your cousins the other day? And I immediately knew. So I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. She's like, what magazines were you showing? I'm like, the ones in Papa's work van. So now my dad's like, huh?
What?
So my dad goes, the motorcycle magazines?
Yeah. Those.
And at that moment, I realized, but I was too young to fully realize.
Yeah,
like,
dad's trouble too.
I should lie. So I'm like,
He tried to help you there.
but I
He's
also,
trying to give you a fucking layup.
but I also,
motorcycles. Let's talk about that.
but I also sensed a little bit of panic in him.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I could totally pawn this off on my dad. Like, no, it's the dirty magazine that you have in your work van.
Oh my god.
There you go, Dad. Deal with
Yeah,
that.
and so my mom's like, you can go in your room now, and I'm like, I got off.
Yeah, I did. Oh man, I got my grandpa in trouble because we used to camp at this one lake at Lake Almanor all the time, and he'd take me out fishing. And so they have, they got trout, and they also have catfish every now and then. But for some reason, he hated catfish. Like I don't know why the reason was, or like they're just bottom dwellers.
Yeah, they're bottom feeders.
Yeah, so like he just doesn't want anything to do with them, and so. He kept, for some reason that day, he kept catching catfish, and he's just like getting more and more irritated. And it was like the third one he catches, he's just like, "God damn catfish!" And he starts like smacking this catfish on the boat and kills it and throws it back in.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, and I'm just a kid, like, watching this whole thing. And we get back to camp, and my brother and I, we're fighting like we always did and all this stuff. And then I was like, I basically like used it wrong. And I'm like, "You goddamn head," like that thing where I'm just like
Catfish.
I'm trying to just like make fun of him, using that same thing. And then like everybody just stops and they're just like, "Where'd you learn this?" And I just like pointed over at my grandpa, and he's just like, "No." He was like, yeah, when you caught the catfish and then you smacked it on the boat, and you're like, "God damn." And he's just like, "No,
Oh man.
I don't know if I said that."
It's funny the things you do as a kid just by watching adults. There were two times I did something like this where we had guests over, and I was young. I must have been 7 or 8, and we had family visiting from Italy, and my dad's side of the family smokes. They smoke a lot of cigarettes. And so they were smoking cigarettes, we're eating dinner in the garage, and this is back in the day when, people just smoke while you're eating or whatever. And they throw the cigarettes out the garage, so it's kind of in the driveway. Mm-hmm. And after, a few of these, I went out there, and when no one was looking, picked up the cigarette, went around the corner because there was a little bit left, and I'm trying to smoke the cigarette.
Yeah.
Fucking got sick. Got so sick. Another time, I saw everybody drinking espresso, but they would leave a little bit of espresso on the bottom of the cup.
Yeah.
And I went and took the rest of the espressos.
Like the strongest parts.
And got fucking wired, dude. I was on fire. I won every game of hide and go seek that day.
Dude, that's so funny. It really stems back a lot with my grandpa because he had with my great uncle Dooley too. They would go to this pool hall all the time, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Right? It's all these old men talking shit and playing pool and smoking cigars. And so one of them left the cigar on the table, and then I grabbed it and started smoking it, and of course inhaled it like an idiot. Got so sick, it was puking and everything. But I just wanted to be cool, and my parents found out later, and so that just became a thing. I think I rolled him under the bus a million times.
Did you guys ever get sick off of chewing tobacco?
Yeah.
Oh, every time I did it, I couldn't do it.
Tried that in high school, got me sick.
I just don't understand it. I tried it as an adult. I was maybe 20 or 19.
Yeah.
I bought some at a gas station because now I can.
You swallow just a little bit of that, and it upsets your
turned
stomach.
green, then white immediately.
I had to pull over my car and just vomit everywhere. And I was like, why are people doing this? This doesn't make any sense.
What's the story there?
Doesn't make any sense.
Even the packets. I tried the packets. I first tried regular chew, threw up from it, and then I okay, let me try the packets and see if that's better. But if you're sucking on it in your lip and you at all swallow some of your own saliva, that's
even if you don't, if you're new, it gets absorbed through your mucosa and you're fucked.
Yeah.
And this made me realize, people who do that, they have to go through a period of hating it. They have to really want to like it. Right. I don't think anybody likes it the first time.
That's like cigarettes. Cigarettes are the same way too. There's a curve of when you first I don't care what anybody says, if you love cigarettes and you smoke every day, you went through a phase
of trying to make yourself like it.
Right. Of it's not the first time you have it, it'll make you sick, dude. The very first time you smoke a cigarette, it wasn't fucking enjoyable, which is crazy, right? That we do that somehow.
Yeah, why do we want to like something like
going?
That?
Yeah. Why you keep trying it?
Because it looks cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Try to be cool.
Speaking of cool, what were you what's up with the coffee you were having this morning?
Cool guy.
Well, I was scrambling around coming in first thing and I was trying to find any an energy drink or something around the studio to drink, and there was a pot of coffee, and so I just decided to pour myself some in the office, and so I drink it, and I'm like, whatever, at least I'll get this one, and then maybe later I'll have some nitro and kind of replenish my caffeine intake here. But
did you realize it wasn't coffee real quick?
Well, it was coffee. It was coffee.
It wasn't coffee. What was it?
No, it was coffee.
Well, it's coffee, but it was.
But I didn't realize it was mushroom infused coffee.
It's the Four Sigmatic coffee.
Because I've tried it before. Remember when we were in Paleo Effects and we had the little shooters of it? And the thing, it's Four Sigmatic, and we tried it, and I was like, that's interesting, but I didn't like it because it was had kind of a funky aftertaste. But this didn't even have that aftertaste. It was the brewed version, and it was really good. And I was like, this is surprising. This is weird.
And so I was gonna say, what do they infuse it with?
They'll put lion's mane or chaga.
Chaga was it?
Yeah, and I've for a long time I've been a fan of using some of those mushrooms with caffeine. It's a really nice feeling. You get the obviously caffeine you feel.
I think I tried it before. I think we brought because they've had it for a while now,
but
right?
I don't think you brewed it. Okay, so I think there's a definitive difference between the single cup serving, like how Starbucks and all them they started to make these little packets that you could just put in hot water.
Yeah, instant.
Yeah, so we had that. This was like a night and day difference.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So,
but I just like the way it feels because for me, I like to taste the coffee also. But the reason why I drink coffee is for the effect.
Yeah.
I want to feel the effect.
Yeah.
And you combine a little caffeine with a little lion's mane, and you are on a different level. And it's not more stimulatory, so you're not more like...
No, it's just the even sharpness, too. And we just had a podcast before this, too. And so I felt that. I feel a little bit more sharp.
Yeah, cool. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I appreciate about it. There's a few combinations with caffeine that are really good. Lion's mane, the Four Sigmatic lion's mane, one of my favorites. Of course, theanine. CBD, if you do a decent dose of it with caffeine, is pretty good. Mm-hmm. But caffeine's a nice base. You know what I mean? It's a nice
Yeah.
base drug or whatever you want to call it, and then you
Yeah.
add other stuff to it, and you can come up with a nice
My base
combination.
is pretty big.
Well, that's cool that Rachel is brewing that up now, because there's times when I don't have enough time to make my own coffee before I
Yeah.
head here, and I
Yeah.
normally just go straight to our nitro. But I prefer my first
I
cup
like hot
I-
coffee too. My first one.
My first cup of coffee, I do. I like a warm cup of
I
coffee.
like cold
That's
coffee
like my
better.
second. Is Nitro's my second.
I'm with you on that
so
one.
Cup 0, then cup 1.
How many cups are you at now, you guys?
me?
coffee?
3.
You're only a 3?
3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've had
3
two.
too.
I've had
which
two.
is really 4, but 3.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Justin. You're lying.
Yeah, I had 2 today. So I have, like I said, pretty regular is I have my cup of coffee before I leave the house, a warm cup of coffee that lasts to the drive here. And then I get here, I'm probably finishing it up when we first get started. We're doing our meetings and stuff like that. By the time we're podcasting, I go fill up a nitro cup, and then that's it. I'm pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's normally pretty good.
And you were a little tired this morning coming in too.
Oh, I was super
that 'cause you're-
tired. Had a
'cause you're-
little bit of a rough weekend.
You had a boys' weekend, right?
Yeah, and it was I mean, all the intentions of the world of it being just like super chill and fun and cool. And, it's like guys' weekend. Because Courtney had been on this tear of like going out with her girlfriends. And I encouraged it. And I'm just like, you go, you do your thing, have fun.
Trying to bank up your own.
Exactly. Trying to get some, some equity there in terms of me going out and then, having some fun and kind of letting loose and whatnot. So, I planned kind of just this like last minute trip and got 2 of my friends to come up with me and we went up and stayed at this house, played a little golf the first day, and everything's going great, like just chilling. And then went to the casinos, and then the next day, we started to kind of do the same thing. We're hanging out and all this. And we started to drink a little bit more and let loose. And so we go to the casino, and it was just like, I think one of my friend Joe, he was like too. Like he was past the point we shouldn't have gone out.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was one of those you kind of smell it ahead of time, and like you should listen to your intuition. Like I just was like, nah, dude, it'll be fine. Like it'll work itself out.
We're almost 40.
Yeah, we're almost 40 years old. These things that happened, earlier when we were in high school and all that's not going to happen. Yeah, silly me, because we ended up getting kicked out of Harris.
You got kicked out?
Yeah.
Are they going to let you back in? Because I think once they kick you out.
No,
don't they-
yeah. So it wasn't me so they kicked him out. Mainly it was like him just squabbling with the dealer and made a comment that was just like really inflammatory towards her, and she was just not happy about it. And then the pit boss got in, and the security came down, and all this. I'm like, oh my god, what's happening? Oh my god, what are we doing? Like we're 40 years old.
Yeah, what do you do in that situation now at this age when your buddies does something like that? And he's your age, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like what do you do? You know what I mean? Like
I don't
do
know.
you have a talk
man.
afterwards? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait till you're sober.
Yes.
Then we're gonna have a
exactly.
conversation.
It's kind of like wait till the next day and like realize like, okay, that got out of hand, and why did that get out of hand? Why are we at that state? Like we're just trying to have a good time. So, but anyways, yeah, that was not anticipated. I think I only got like 3 hours of sleep because when we got back, it became this whole thing, and then there was like the puke and all this other stuff happening.
Oh.
I'm just like. Whoa,
Bro,
like, people still party hard. I'm just not a party hard guy anymore.
The worst part about that is that you banked up all this time.
I know.
And you cashed out on that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I know.
you old wise you should have known, like, you know what? My time will come. Eventually there'll be a week where I really want to go do something versus I need to go do something.
Yes.
Because I need to get out. And so you forced a weekend.
I forced it. Yeah, exactly. And I was like trying to make it work. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have so much fun.
Well, I mean, if
and we did have fun, but then that did like kind of tainted the waters.
Yeah, you
know?
just shouldn't hang out with anyone besides us, Justin.
Okay.
That's what I think is
that
going
what
on
it
here.
is? Oh, okay, that's what it is.
I feel like
We're the coolest people you know.
yeah, I don't go out with other people.
No,
That's what
How
you get.
dare you? Yeah, that's what you get for having other friends.
I've got boys that are like that still, and that's why I just can't.
You don't go out with them anymore.
I don't go out with them anymore. I can't. I love them, and I tell them that I love you to death and stuff like that. But I'll pass on those events with you. Like I've now learned like who I can do what with, and I value my time so much now. We work a lot. We got kids. You got a lot of things going on. So free time is very precious to me. So I'm very careful with like how I divide that up. And I'm like, I love you to death, and you're a good boy. We go all the way back to high school or beyond, but I'm not interested in spending that doing anything like we used to when we were in high school anymore. Like I don't want to have to get in some brawl or fucking get you
I leave
from the police station.
Oh, if I'm in a situation like that, if I'm hanging out with a friend or cousin, whatever, and you could smell it, you could see what's about to happen.
I would think it would be more common with because you have such a big family, and you probably got to have a couple crazy family members that do some shit.
I just don't hang out with them.
You don't?
No, I just don't. And if I'm in a situation where they are around and I see it. I mean, this was a while ago, but I was at a wedding. And I have a side of my family that gets a little rowdy. And I could see what was happening. I said, oh, okay, we're about 30 minutes away from, a situation. So I just leave. All right, see you guys later. Yeah. I don't want to be around when the cops
you're right.
That's usually what I do,
That's what I would do, too. Like, if I noticed a friend now, like in Justin's situation, I probably would have just been like... But the challenge and what I probably would have done in the past is I battle with myself. Oh, I don't want to leave my boy who's just fucking wasted and doing stupid...
Grown man.
Right, that's exactly... Now, old version of me is like...
Yeah, it's different now.
Yeah.
Grown man.
Yeah, you get thrown in jail, that's on you, bro.
That's on you, buddy.
That's it. Yeah, I'm just like, it's happening. However it's happening.
You don't even say bye. You just ghost him. You're just like, well, when he's looking over there, I'm going to sneak out.
Yeah.
Let him handle himself. You know what I mean? Forget this bullshit.
Yeah.
So annoying. Anyway, dude, what's with this news on? So my son sent me a video of himself playing Fortnite the other day, and apparently, what happened? It was a huge live game. Millions and millions of people are on there, and they did something where something happened in the game where the game literally blew up. And every character got sucked into a black hole, and then all that was left was a black hole on the game. They erased all of their Twitter, and he was telling me that they're resetting the game or something like that.
So my cousin, her husband,
because there's hella kids pissed off right now.
They can't play. Huge game.
The internet is going bonkers right now. Like it's going, which is you brought up a point that I think is got to be partially true. There's got to be some sort of a stunt. Involved in this
because everybody's talking about it,
right? Everybody is talking about it right now. Now, it was what makes it so crazy today, and the game ending is that was the date they were supposed to announce the new Fortnite season,
right?
And so all the Fortnite players and people that are into it are anticipating the new game release and all this shit going on. And all of a sudden, they get this black hole thing, and like 50 million people are staring at a screen on whatever.
Yeah. Did you see what it looked like?
Yeah.
So like players are playing, and then like missiles are coming in, or something's happening, an asteroid hits, and then it like and it sucks everybody in, and then that's it.
But then But then I saw the tweet this morning from it was Tim Kennedy, I think is his name. He's the CEO of Epic Games, which is who owns the rights to Fortnite. Mm-hmm. And he's making like comments about, it says Epic supports the rights of Fortnite players and creators to speak out on politics and human rights. And I know there's a bunch of stuff going on with China and Hong Kong. And I know that the NBA was involved in it also.
Yeah, because if you speak out against China or what's happening in Hong Kong in support of the citizens of Hong Kong, and you're a big company, then China comes and threatens to boycott or ban your game or whatever, or we're not going to show NBA, like South Park. South Park is banned in China completely now because they had an issue with what South Park was doing. And so South Park, the creators of South Park, like,
say fuck you.
They're the last people on earth. So they did an entire episode based on that.
That's great.
And China banned them completely.
Yeah.
Completely. And then they put out a fake apology. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I didn't.
Talking about so it's illegal in China to post a meme that makes the leader of China that compares him to Winnie the Pooh. Did you guys know this?
No.
So
that's so specific.
There's memes that say that he looks.
It's like a childhood thing for him. He's just like, everything, but not Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. I will fucking cut your head off.
No. Apparently there was these memes that were going viral comparing him to saying that he looks like Winnie the Pooh. Well, you can apparently you can go to jail. They'll ban whatever.
Bro, that is hilarious. I've never heard this.
In their apology, they're like, he doesn't look like he totally doesn't look like Winnie the Pooh. And so they're
definitely doesn't look like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, they're tackling all this stuff, but they got banned. China, I think, threatened the NBA for something else. I think it was either a coach or a player. see those memes right there?
Oh my god!
See all that? I guess it was
so offensive.
It was either a coach or a player or someone who said something on a broadcast in support of Hong Kong, the citizens of Hong Kong, because you know that there's been riots over there for like 17 weeks.
Yeah,
it's like been getting nuts millions of people. And China threatened the NBA and said, "Hey, if that happens, we're gonna we're not going to show you guys. We're not going to have you guys. And they have a huge audience. Obviously, China's a big market.
Yeah.
So the NBA apologized and said we won't do it again. And everybody's pissed off because like, fuck you, NBA. Like,
Yeah.
we're it's an American company. We speak how we want. You've banned games in North Carolina because of some politics over there, but now you got China saying some shit, and you're bowing to them. So it's this big old deal, and I think China's fucking up because the last thing you ever do to Americans ever is tell us what we can't say. Because now you're going to get poked at.
That's going to be a constant thing now.
It is a thing now. It's meme. All the meme culture and everything. You're going to blow this shit up. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
But so how's this connected to Fortnite?
I don't know, but the fact that he's tweeting that the day after all this drama with Fortnite is interesting to me. And I know, so my cousin, who her husband works for Epic Games, he's like not able to talk about this. So I would have, and I asked her, I was like, it seems like a marketing ploy to me. It seems like just a way to get everybody talking about
because of the new seasons coming in.
Right. And she's like, I'm sure, she goes, and she's alluding to me like, I'm sure it has something to do with that too, but there's more. So,
interesting.
So and it was pre-planned. This was like obviously pre-planned.
Yeah,
way ahead.
because they deleted all of their tweets. All their tweets on Twitter, completely gone. All they had left was a picture of the black hole.
Now, I know that China is responsible for 40% of their traffic.
Dude.
That's a lot. Almost half of Fortnite's traffic is coming from China.
Wow.
So that's why I think it has something to do with that also, with what's going on with the climate currently right now. That I don't know if it's just a marketing play. I don't know what they're trying to do by shutting it down, how that affects China or not, or what they're trying to, or they're trying to make a stance on it that this is something that.
So you think they're connected? This is connected.
I do. I think it has something to do with that also.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of companies right now that are under heat because they're kind of bowing to China in their demands, and it's so anti-American or so against kind of what we stand for, and people are pissed off about it. I think this is very, very interesting, especially considering the trade war that we're in with China.
Yeah.
The president's
kind of adding gasoline to that.
Well, the
whole
president's
environment.
position against China. And what's funny to me is, so here's my little conspiracy theory. Because of the trade war, because Trump has been adding tariffs to a lot of their products and trying to pressure them to reduce ours, it's really hurt our economy quite a bit. Every time you add a tariff on a product, it's just a tax. You're just paying more now for that product. Even if it comes from somewhere else, you have to pay more money now. And so that's been one of his biggest kind of criticisms. Well, now all the stuff that's going on with China and our companies, and most Americans are in support of telling them to fuck off. Most Americans are like, don't tell us what to say or what not to say. We don't like that. So my conspiracy theory is like, what if this is all happening to kind of make Americans more anti-China so that when the election happens and they're like, you're Trump, your, tariffs are hurting the American economy, Americans are like, we don't care. We don't want to work with them anyway, type of deal. It's all working out kind of very interesting if you look at the whole thing.
Yeah.
Get your popcorn ready.
I see that angle.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sit back, get your popcorn ready.
Speaking of Korn,
What?
Isn't there a new album that you were?
I was going to tell you guys, and I just, brought it up before we started podcasting. I am like blown away at their new album. And I know this was a total sleeper that kind of came
I
through.
didn't even know it was coming out, bro.
Yeah, my friend showed me, and I was like, dude, like I haven't heard like music in a while that was new, that was like, oh wow. Or even from old bands. Like I love old bands that like put something out and you're like, oh, it's good to see them, back in action again. And and you get kind of pumped that they're relevant again. But I feel like this is their best album they've ever done. Like I really do. I feel
Is it heavy? Is it like workout?
Well, the one song, it's Cold. The name of the title of the song is Cold, but it's so heavy. It's the heaviest I've heard them, and it gives me chills, dude. I put that on a few times. I'm ready to PR with that song now. I think, yeah.
I'm gonna
dude,
pull that up.
Everybody's waiting for your squat video now.
No, fucking
Yeah, what's up?
guy, dude.
I love that you tagged him on there. Like,
Yeah, dude, I'm not tagging. I wasn't even trying to.
Yeah.
I wasn't even trying to fuck with you.
Shots fired.
Get out of here,
I
guy.
wasn't doing it on purpose.
I post my deadlift lift like fucking 24 hours later. You throw yours up on there. Get out of here. We haven't
posted videos on lifts in like forever, and all of a sudden
I do it all the time.
Oh, no
Love
big
it.
deal. No big deal. Just had to do
That
it.
was a nice squat.
Huh?
That was a very nice squat.
Felt good.
Yeah, would you have 375 on the bar?
I think that's 365 or 360.
365.
360
That was a
something.
very nice looking squat.
Yeah, it was.
You're not gonna get that like nice of a squat out of me.
Yeah, that was the idea. Yeah, that was the idea. I knew that. I was like,
You'll get an ugly squat.
Like, I got this.
Yeah. I was like, I can't
this
get
going
I
for
can't
me.
get him on the deadlift right now, but I've been working my ass off this. Come get this, buddy.
Yeah. I
so-
got. You know how many people? So funny. You tagged me on it. Yeah, I got hella people sending it to me anyway.
Right.
Did you see what Adam
See
did?
this? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about that?
Yeah, like oh
I know.
come on, bro.
People are trying to bring me into it too. I'm like, he didn't even tag me. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
that's so stupid.
And I still get critics, you know, saying people like pointing out all my.
Well, I
breakdowns.
haven't. I
Like,
almost.
Thank you.
You almost made me squat heavy today, but I haven't squatted in a while because I'm trying to work on my mobility. So I've only been doing split stance exercise, but you almost got me. This morning I woke up. I went to go
Was it in the
lift.
back of your head?
I looked at my weight belt and I was like, maybe I should go push some heavier weight again. Nah. But it's because I'm heavy right now, so I feel strong.
I actually
but I don't want to push it.
I honestly just felt really good. Like there wasn't like intentions really, and I just thought after I did it, I was like, oh, this will be a good time to talk shit to Sal.
It's a nice little jab.
But I've been working up to this for a while of like getting better and better at that deep of a squat in flat shoes or bare feet and feeling that good with weight, and then of course being all natural. Like so, you know, I'm really trying to get up.
I'll answer that.
Good job.
My goal is to get up to the weights that I was pulling and squatting when I was in the middle of competing, which is going to be hard because
That's a great target.
the amount of training that I was doing during that time, aside from the fact that I was on testosterone, so obviously that's a huge advantage to me that I had, running testosterone. But even more so, I think the greatest advantage was just I was consistent.
What's your body weight right now?
I haven't been on the scale in probably a month or two. I would guess it around 210-ish.
No.
Yes.
There's no way.
No, you're thicker than that, dude.
Yeah. I weigh almost 210 right now. You know how much I weigh right now? I'm like 206, 207 right now.
Maybe I'm 215 to 220.
You have to be.
Yeah,
There's no
probably.
way I weigh as much as you right now.
I
There's
don't
no
know.
way.
I'm not.
I mean, I know I have more muscle, but I don't know if that's.
I'm definitely.
No, you're like 215, I think.
Yeah, I would get maybe 215.
Yeah.
I'd probably be good. I'll hop on the scale. I haven't been on there in a long time.
No, I'm heavy right now. You know what happens when I have really good gut health? I just fucking eat a lot and get heavy.
Yeah.
You know, because I
Is
tied
it-
it so much. Yeah.
Are
dude.
you the motherfucker that ate all the skinny dipped?
No,
all the
that-
peppermint.
Nope, that's never me. That's
Bro,
always Justin.
They just brought back their peppermint flavor. Rachel's coming in our Monday meetings. Like we go over all of our brands and stuff like that.
Well,
and-
dude, I didn't want it to be me again. You know, like she brought that up, and I'm just like,
Bro, you fat
no,
ass.
it wasn't me. I'm like, oh yeah, that was me.
You know, it's funny.
Like, damn it.
He said she comes in and she goes, "Oh, you guys should make sure you talk about the peppermint because it's back now, peppermint chocolate flavor or whatever." She's like, "I'll go," and she's like, "I'll go get some." I'm like, "Where is it?" Because I couldn't find it. She's like, "I know where it is." She goes back there. She comes in here, and she's like, "Who? They're gone. Did someone eat them all?"
We can't keep snacks just
Justin's
readily
face,
available.
Justin's face,
like-
bro. His face was so
Bro,
funny.
we're gonna have to have a little sit down talk about this.
Yeah, no, it's not even a big deal.
In fact, this is-
totally fits my macros, bro.
This
Yeah.
is not a skinny dip commercial. This is an intervention.
This is intervention.
This is an intervention that we're having now.
We're gonna have to put him in a lockbox.
Yeah, you guys missed out. The peppermint is on point.
You
dude.
jerk.
So that's their thing.
That's their
right?
holiday thing.
I was gonna
right?
say that's their holiday thing. You know how like Starbucks does the fucking whatchamacallit, the latte,
Pumpkin spice.
the pumpkin spice.
everything.
They bring the peppermint every year,
which is
yeah.
by the way, pumpkin spice lattes,
Well,
delicious.
those are tasty
They're
too, for sure.
not as good as the skinny dipped peppermint almonds though.
You mix them together and watch what happens.
You, no, I do like it with coffee, and then that peppermint chocolate is bomb.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I got bad news for you, Adam.
What's that?
In
for him.
about a year or two, a company will be releasing for widespread use among police officers. And
Why is this bad news for me?
here we go. Bad news for you.
In case I get arrested.
a truly effective marijuana breathalyzer.
Because I get high and drive all the time.
It's a breathalyzer that literally you can breathe into and will detect whether or not you've smoked weed in the 3 hours. The last 3 hours.
You know what I want to see, and I'm not advocating for DUIs at all, okay? But I would like to see a really good study on if you drive better high or not. I would argue.
Don't shut up.
I would.
That you drive better high than sober.
I have some stoner friends, and I would contest that theory.
Yeah.
Yes.
You would contest it?
Yes.
So
They're
they
not better.
So
high.
they've done studies.
They do studies around reaction time and things like that. So
they did one on driving. They did a study on marijuana smoking and driving versus alcohol and driving. Now, to be clear, and the control, of course, was sober. Now, the best driver was sober. But marijuana, you have to smoke a lot of it in order for it to impair your driving like alcohol does.
Right.
So in comparison, it's not an equal comparison.
That's what I mean. You would have to be like, the highest edible high I've ever had. Like I've felt that high, but I feel drunk when I'm like that. If it's like you
there's levels for sure.
Way overdid it. But
what if this episode might not age well because you know how people's attitudes around these things change? Yeah. Like literally in the 40s, 30s, and 40s, it wasn't a big deal to have a beer while you were cruising in your car. It really wasn't. That's what people did.
Yeah.
If you got pulled over for drunk driving, it's because you were fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
And the cop would literally give you a ride home, and then someone would have to go pick up the car. Today, if you were to say, "Oh yeah, I drink a beer every once in a while," everybody's gonna look at you and think like you're crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's gonna be like that for weed. Like in 10 years, you know what I mean? People like, "You did what?"
We had no reservations about this.
Yeah.
Now, what'll be interesting about it is if they test like that, like how long, how are they gonna measure that? Like, am I gonna have to be able to have any weed like 4 hours before?
No, it's 3 hours. So it'll show if you've had weed within the last 3 hours. Because the challenge was before, because THC stays in your system so long, you could have weed a week ago, they'll test you and they'll have it in your blood.
Right.
Or you know what I mean? So that doesn't count. But apparently this breathalyzer's more accurate. It'll show within the last 3 hours. So if you had weed in the last 3 hours.
Even that sucks, man. I mean, there's been times before where we've had a podcast. I smoked some weed during the podcast with some guest or whatever like that. We podcast for a few hours, 3-4 hours later, I go home.
Dude, this will be an interesting one, right?
That's fucking stupid.
I feel like every other driver they're going to pull over. You know, how many times are you stuck in traffic and you have your windows open because it's caught or whatever, and you smell something like, what? There's 3 drivers around you blazing in their cars.
Chiefing it up.
Yeah, that's like a big deal, right?
Yeah, no, that's happening right now. You know what I would argue, though? You know what's more dangerous? People texting and driving.
Way more dangerous. That's actually true.
Way more dangerous. Yeah. And that, to me,
that's a big problem.
This happens. Okay, this is crazy.
Yeah, everybody in this room does it.
I've been conditioning myself not to. Dude.
Yes. So this has happened to me. This is what I was going to admit right now, right? I'm calling myself out. Pulling up to a stoplight, right? And it's like a 3-lane like stoplight, and there's cars behind me, cars right next to me. And I just hit a red light, so I know that I've got at least 3 minutes before the light turns green. So I get the urge of grabbing my phone and then just looking down at it, and I catch myself doing that. And I go, it's a bad habit. I need to stop doing that. I put it down, and instantly after I put it down, I look to my left, I look to my right, I look in my rearview mirror, and everybody's heads down are on their phones.
Yeah,
everybody. Not like most of the cars. Every fucking car that I could see at this red light instantly is on down, looking their heads down the phone. I'm like, wow,
you know what
that's your problem.
You know what happens to me is I'll get honked at because I'll be at the stoplight. I'll start texting them. And I look up. Oh, it's green.
Yeah, you gotta wave.
Oh,
sorry.
Except that the person next to you doesn't honk, and you're both there. Just and then the light goes to yellow, and then you look up like, oh no!
I've been the car behind when that's happened. I've been the car behind when two cars are sitting at the red light. It goes green. I'm sitting there, and I'm normally like patient because I know that's happened to me also, Sal. I normally give them like a little 5-second buffer before the horn goes, right? Yeah. And I'm like waiting, and it's like it was a quick light too, and it goes to yellow right away. And when it went yellow, then I honk my horn. Then I look up, and then they fucking don't go, and it's like,
or they go and now it's red.
Yeah,
and you have to stop. You know what I almost did once, and this is, and I get hammered for being on my phone while I'm at a stoplight all the time. But one time, what happened to me was I pulled up to the stoplight, and the lane next to me was a turning lane. My lane was straight, and because I was at the red light, I looked down at my phone. Then I see the car next to me moving, and I almost hit the gas.
Yeah.
But that's because they were turning. Their light went green.
Right.
Had I hit the gas, I would have hit right.
Wow.
Somebody right in that lane, right in front of me.
Oh,
yeah,
bro.
so dangerous,
Scary,
so stupid. Anyway, did you guys hear about the marathon record that got broke recently?
It's like,
no.
What do you mean?
Speed
wise?
Yeah. So time wise,
was this with a woman?
No, it was a man.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys know the 4-minute mile, like one of the greatest, barriers ever broken. Well, the 2-hour marathon has been a barrier that people have been trying to break for a long time now. Being able to run a marathon in under 2 hours. Somebody just did it.
What's the math on that? It's 26 and a half miles is a marathon. What's the
26.2 or something like that?
I think
Maybe
it is.
Doug can find out.
Well, just do 26.2 divided by the 120 minutes and tell
I'll
me
just
what
do 26 divided by 120 minutes.
Well, then that would be harder, knucklehead. Do 26.5.
It's what is that? 22 minutes? Did I do that wrong?
You did. You did.
Doug, what is that?
Do this, because it's how many total, okay, in a 2-hour marathon, okay, so that's
How many miles, basically, you're
120
running,
minutes. So
you're running
like a 4.6 minute mile.
You're running a 4-minute mile the whole time.
holy fuck.
Wow.
That's
No,
insane.
That's happened?
that
is
just
insane.
happened. That just,
Somebody ran a 4-minute mile average in a marathon?
yeah, it just happened.
Where was this?
This was
Could you fact check him, please? That's crazy.
no, dude. This was big news, dude.
That is huge news.
This was big news.
It was
Here,
it was big news. Just what
Okay.
was it in this? Was it?
all right, here we go. The guy. Okay, Eliud Kipchoge. You want to guess where he's from? You guys anybody take a guess? They have the fucking fastest marathon runners in the world.
Yeah, it's gonna be somewhere like Ethiopia.
No, Kenya.
Okay, Kenya.
Yeah, Kenya. So they by the way, the Kenyans destroy everybody. And there's one part of Kenya.
Yeah.
It's not the whole. There's one area that has like a disproportionate amount of runners.
Right.
So anyway, he covered 26.2 miles in 1 hour, 59 minutes, 40 seconds in Austria on this last Saturday. How insane is that?
That's unbelievable.
Isn't that incredible?
Bro, that is insane.
Yeah. That's this insane amount of speed.
What's insane about that? And remember when we watched that great TED talk on the 4-minute mile when he talks about the evolution of sports?
See how many people beat it?
And yeah, when the 4-minute mile was forever a big thing, and then only a handful of people had ever done it like in time, and then that happens, and then after it happens, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and probably thousands now, have done a 4-minute mile. To see somebody do a 4-minute mile average on a marathon is fucking insane.
What's crazy about this is here we have a guy that runs marathons who could smoke most people in just a sprint. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but just keep it. In other words, he could run 26 miles, and then you could wait at the end of the 26-mile race and then try to race him. It's fresh.
Yeah.
And he would just fucking dust you. That's how fast he was. How insane is that? Apparently, he accelerated the last kilometer. So apparently, he got even faster at the
my
very end
God.
because he knew he was trying to break
His afterburners kicked in.
Isn't that crazy?
That is
I
beyond
still
crazy.
understand
That's
it.
just he's like a that's like an animal speed.
I'd love to hear what
Machine.
his resting heart rate is, like 25.
I don't know. But I mean, you look at a picture of the guy, he's all legs. He's like this kind of small dude with really long legs. I mean, he looks like he was made.
Well, you've seen how they train too, like barefoot, and they spring on the dirt out nowhere. And
there is an area within Kenya that has such a disproportionate amount of champion runners that they're going out there and studying what the hell is going on. There's a few places like that in the world, like for example, the Samoan Islands.
Yeah.
A disproportionate amount of them are
The
pro
NFL
football
has
players.
implanted camps there to just basically like help with the youth kind of get indoctrinated into the NFL's way of like all the rules and the organization of it and all that. So it's like basically that way they get their ties in with that culture.
Yeah,
'Cause
we were talking about
there's
this
so many NFL players
a little while ago. We were talking about like the difference in genetics between people.
Yeah.
Obviously, the guy trains his ass off, obviously, but there's also got to be a genetic component. I mean, I couldn't get that fast for 1 mile. You know what I'm saying? Let
Yeah.
alone doing it 26 times in a row. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That is crazy.
First question is from Tyler Rekla. What are your guys' thoughts on something like Squatober, where you're squatting every day of the week aside from the active rest weekends? Is that a good amount of frequency, or can it be too much?
I have some thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I think it could be good and it could be bad. I like it generally speaking because I think more people should squat. I think squatting is a fundamental thing that most of us as humans have lost. And I think the pursuit of having a good squat has so much benefit and carry over to so many other aspects of strength and fitness and health. So I love the idea of highlighting a month where people focus on squatting the entire month. Now, the problem with that is I know from being a trainer for as long as I've been that a majority of clients that ever walked through my door to hire me as a trainer could not squat well. And so much of our squatting sessions or training sessions were doing exercises and movements to get them good at the squat. So if you're somebody who is jumping on this Squatober bandwagon and you're like, I'm going to squat every day, but you have a shitty squatting shitty every single day for a month, I don't know how good of an idea that is.
Yeah. So the thing I actually don't like about it is the fact that it's named Squatober. I don't think it's going to encourage good long-term behaviors, because what people tend to do with like sober October or squat every day in October or whatever is that they'll go hard into it because it's a set time. It's like those 30-day challenge. It's a 30-day challenge essentially is what it is. And what'll end up happening is people will get all crazy into it and then they'll stop completely and go in the opposite direction. So that part I don't like. As far as how it affects the body, look, if you have the right amount of intensity, while you're squatting, you can definitely squat every single day. It's not too much frequency.
But there's a problem right there. So that's just it. Is I think that, and we openly share this on the show all the time, that if there's something that I tend to mess up or do wrong, or even though I know better, is the overuse of intensity. Right. Even as much as I talk about it, we all talk about it. I know better. I know there's a sweet spot for my programming where I should push. I still battle with,
that's a big concern of mine as well.
Right. I tend to overreach more often than I don't. And so if I'm somebody who does that and I know better and I'm pretty good at gauging that, I can't imagine the average person going into a Squatober knowing how to scale back and know how to listen to their body and go like, okay, if I'm going to squat every day, it needs to be like this.
It has to be done right. I think if you treat it like practicing the squat every single day, then you're going to be okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the benefit I see is that you're highlighting one really valuable exercise that we're going to try and put a lot of like centered focus around and really like hone in on the skill of that exercise. Like if that was the intent going into this month and you did it with appropriate intensity where it was laid out that, it's probably way less than you want to squat, but it's really all the little nuances in, like every part of the process of squatting that you're trying to, like hone in on and master. Like I'm all for that versus like trying to treat it like, well, this is just the exercise that in the workout I'm going to hammer myself with every single day this month.
Yeah. Now, if you do it right, here's what you should notice. If you do it right, you should be able to get really good at squatting. By the end of 30 days, if you practice squatting every day with appropriate intensity and good form, you'll end up getting really, really good at squatting. Here's the other thing you may notice: increased muscle mass. Lots of frequency applied properly is a phenomenal stimulus for building lots of muscle. I wouldn't do this with a lot of exercises. Like I wouldn't do like a work every body part every day type of thing. But, practicing just the squat.
Yeah, but the irony in that, though, Sal, is this, that the average person, if you took the idea and concept of squat,
they're not going to do it right.
Well, no, the idea of it, though, is to get more people squatting, right? That's the idea of this,
right?
Is to get more people squatting and to get the benefits that you're talking about that will happen. If you increase frequency of squatting, you'll be better. How about whoever you are that's thinking about doing Squatober, you assess how often you squat in a month right now, look back at your previous 6 months and be honest with yourself and go, oh, I squat about 8 times a month total in squatting, and pick that frequency up. Yeah,
50%.
Yeah, exactly. Pick it up 50% or less and see what that will make a huge difference.
It's going to be so hard for people to gauge the right amount of intensity because
you're doing it every day.
Well, let's be honest. The average person just does body weight squats every day. It's going to be too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to get really sore and they're going to hurt.
Well, so I just don't think people realize like what that even looks like individually, because unless they're getting coached through that. So there's a problem.
That's why I say take wherever you're at. Yeah. Okay, it's Squatober. So that's how I would teach Squatober. If I'm teaching it to a class and we want to put emphasis on the squat this month, I would tell everybody in my class and say, hey, if you guys are I want everybody to assess how often they squat in a month, what's normal. So look back at your programming or, and count up what it is. And I want everybody to squat 5 more times this month. Like literally that. That would make a huge difference. Somebody who squats on a semi-regular basis and they're squatting, 6 to 12 times in a month, you add 5 more squat sessions in a month to that person, you're going to see everything you're talking about. And you're less likely to overreach because you're going to have a really hard time programming every single day the intensity level. I would say 5 out of the 7 days have to be like nothing.
Well, that's
so easy.
And that's why I want to be clear. This is what it means when I say practice squatting. It's not a workout at all. Okay, so maybe 1 or 2 of those days a week you can have a workout with your squats, but then the rest of the days you're just practicing, and practice is not a workout. You're literally going in and just perfecting the form over and over and over again. And you start to get tired, a little sore, you're done. That's it. You're not working out. I don't think you can do a squat workout every day. I think for most people that's way too much, and it's going to cause problems. And if you have a little bit, here's the thing with frequency. There's a good and a bad to frequency. Here's the bad with frequency. If you don't adjust your form and you're off by a little bit, it really gets amplified in terms of the problems it causes. Like if your form is off a little bit, but you're squatting every day, you're going to get problems. You're going to feel pain just because you're doing it so often. So the form has to be exceptional. It has to be really, really good to be able to throw this kind of frequency at your body.
I think it's just convenient because it works. Like Squatober, like you can't take like March and create like Barch, for bench. It's like that's dumb.
Yeah, Squat February.
Squatober.
Next question is from Venkat. Is it feasible to do a bikini competition for the first time 6 months from now if you're overweight and out of shape?
Is it feasible? Yeah. Is it a good idea?
Couched bikini.
Nope. Not a good idea whatsoever. No. Now, can you lose a lot of weight and change the way your body looks in pretty dramatic ways with a very appropriate and consistent workout program and nutrition program? Yes, you can. Here's why you should not do a bikini competition. First off, it's a terrible way to motivate yourself. What you're going to find after the bikini competition is going to be impossible to keep doing what you're doing. Bikini competitions require an extreme, unhealthy level of whatever you want to call it to nutrition and exercise. So it's a terrible way to get yourself in shape. And I see more and more people doing this. Like, in order to motivate themselves to get in shape, they sign up for a competition.
It's the new way of, I hate this, man. It's reminding me of the marathon, obstacle course racing, the clients that we used to have that needed something like this in order to get them in shape. They use that, and it's a terrible, terrible idea. I mean, just the way, even the way this question's worded, I would just put it right back on that person. Well, do you think it's a good idea for somebody who's never played basketball before to practice playing basketball for 6 months and then go play against the best in the world?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's a good idea? I mean, and in basketball is like a safe, somewhat sport for someone to try and pick up and learn. What about football? You know, what about, and you're talking about something where you are fucking with your metabolism because you're extreme dieting and you're training unbelievably in comparison to what the average person for health would be. So you're at higher risk.
Yeah, the perception isn't that it's that harmful. Like, I think that's the problem.
Right.
You know, out there, it just looks like, yeah, I just got to the pinnacle of my health, because that's what, you know, we're promoting and we're marketing to everybody as like the example, versus like actually, you know, coaching, going through it yourself. It's like, you know, what do you actually have to do if you haven't put like a year, 2 years worth of work going in that direction? And it's going to be extreme on every facet of the process.
Yeah. I would argue that it's up there with something as dangerous as trying to play like a sport. Like now, maybe like football is something that's more physical and you could be hurt that way. Like
it's more like going into a fight.
Well, but think about the extreme dieting that goes involved, the potential damage that could do to you long term with eating disorders, with body image issues, with metabolism stuff. I mean, the amount of things that could come out of it bad from pushing yourself into a competition like that well before you are mentally and physically ready.
Yeah, talk about creating a perfect storm for body obsession issues.
Yeah.
You know, I'm overweight and out of shape. In order to get myself to get to my goals, I'm going to sign up for a bikini competition where I'm on stage in a bikini while people judge me purely based off of how I look. Right. And leading up to that, all I'm doing is thinking about how I look because of this competition. That is a recipe for disaster. And here's the other thing. People that use events to motivate themselves to do things almost always never continue after the event is over. Almost always. It's like somebody saying, "Oh, it's on my bucket list to complete a marathon," and to not stop during the whole marathon. I want to jog the whole time. So they train for it, they do the marathon, they do the accomplishment. Do you think afterwards they're thinking to themselves like, I'm going to keep running? They're like, no, I did it. I'm done.
Yeah.
I did it. This is what tends to happen with if you use a bikini competition this way. You'll do the competition. Oh my God, I'm so proud of myself. I did it. I'm done. Now I don't want to do it.
That's why
anymore.
you should, if you really want to do something like that, because I did something like that, so I'm not against somebody doing that. But the approach that I had and that I encourage people to have is train as if you were going to get on stage and practice what it's like to diet for it and get ready for it as if you were going to, but don't put yourself through that, especially the last like week or two is extremely stressful on the body. There's no reason for you to go to that extreme until you feel like you're ready for it. Just like I would, and this is where I do like comparing it to a sport. And I know a lot of people roll their eyes when you talk about competing a pageant being like a sport. Yeah, it's not like a physical sport like basketball or football, but the mental aspect of it is every bit as daunting. I mean, there's no days off in that sport. You are eating and training and thinking about your food and what you're putting in your mouth every single moment you wake up. And I would argue that it's as every bit as stressful mentally as any other sport. So I most certainly would not recommend that to somebody until you've practiced that several times before you were to put yourself on a stage and have somebody judge you.
Look, if you want to improve your health and fitness in your aesthetics or your appearance, and you want to do it forever, so you want to get to wherever you get to, but you want to maintain it forever, this just isn't the way to do it. I'm just 100%. So here's the way to do it. Start slow. Tackle one thing at a time that's challenging but realistic for yourself. Stick with that one thing. So maybe you go to the gym 2 days a week instead of no days a week. Maybe you eat, one serving of vegetables a day since you don't eat any now or something like that. Stick to that one thing. Once it becomes a part of your life, once it becomes automatic for you, then add something else. That is a long-term approach, and the odds that you'll get to your goals and stay there forever are far higher. This way right here, first of all, is it feasible? Yeah, you could do a lot of things to your body in 6 months. It's also extremely not feasible. It's extremely common that you're going to fail after the bikini competition. It'll be very rare for somebody to do it this way and then stay on course long term.
Next question is from Captain Jake Sparra. What are your thoughts on fitness conventions? Are they a good way to meet and see people in the community, or just an unnecessary gimmick for selling supplements? Do you ever go to them?
They are big supplement, like selling extravaganzas, aren't they? I remember the first time I went to one.
Hustle, the whole thing.
Yeah, the first time I went to one, it was the Arnold Classic, and it was, 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. And I'd really wanted to go to one for a long time. I'd followed bodybuilding when I was a kid. And so I went to one. I flew to Columbus, Ohio with a friend of mine, and we get there, and we walk through the convention, and I'm like, this is just a bunch of supplement vendors trying to get our attention through different means, girls, scantily clad, and, they're shooting T-shirts out of cannons over here, and they're giving out free, and at first it was kind of like, well, this is kind of, and then you're walking around, you're like, well, this is not really, I'm not getting a ton of value. Now, they offer other things. I know some of these conventions, like the Arnold Classic, will have jiu-jitsu matches and arm wrestling and strongman competitions, and that's where I could see some of the value.
That's
if you
the
like
value,
to, if you like to see that kind of stuff,
powerlifting meets and all that. There.
Yeah, then you can watch the bodybuilding show. You can watch and do all that kind of. But the actual convention area itself, I mean, I don't know. It's not my thing.
Yeah, I think it's like going to the fairgrounds. You know what I'm saying? If you like going to the fair and riding the Ferris wheel and seeing the carnies and all that shit like that, I mean, if it's similar to
see all your favorite Insta celebs. Right?
It is like that now, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we don't choose to do it. I went early on when we first were starting the company. I was out at Olympia a couple of times. I didn't go to Arnold Classic, but I've been out to Olympia a couple of times. I've been to some of the local ones we've done here in San Jose,
LA.
Done LA. So I've been to quite a few of them, and it's kind of not really our scene. Even when I was competing, it still wasn't really my scene for me. I don't hang out with like other bodybuilder guys all the time. Even when I was competing, I knew them. I'm friends with a lot of the guys that are in that, but I don't know, it's you if you're really into that space, they can be cool, I guess. If you are like hardcore, you're young teenage boy or girl and you like aspire to be one of these competitors so bad and you're into all that, like that scene can be really cool. I mean,
I'll tell you what's interesting.
You have to be really into all that.
Do you guys do this where you go around these conventions and it's fascinating to watch people because of how they all will wear like similar shoes and shirts
I love
and
that
backpacks.
So I love people watching, period. I just enjoy. I enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah. I like crowded areas like that. I like to post up somewhere and just human watch. I don't know why or where that came from.
Yeah, I remember when we first went to Paleo FX, which is not a fitness bodybuilding convention, right?
But similar in many ways.
Yes, it was weird going through and being like, oh, this is exactly the same. It's just
they all
different.
had the same sandals and blue blockers.
Yes.
And it was just a different form. So it was like what people, it's like their hobby, their interest. And it's like they all sort of, congregate together. And it's like, it seems to me like an internet group chat, like all just met in
that's
one
why,
place.
to your point, if it's something, if it's a hobby or a major interest of you, absolutely there's value in going there. You're going to see some of your bodybuilder celebrity people or your favorite Instagram people that are in that space, and they give out, it's like Halloween for adults, like you give out free supplements. You carry a bag around and wait in line and they dump you free supplements if you like all that stuff. It's just never been a thing for us. Like we're honestly like the area that we saw when we came into the podcasting space, we wanted to reach and find all the clients that we trained. When all three of us look back at our career, and if we were to generalize the people that we trained, the people we trained were just normal ass people into lots of other things besides fitness.
Run of the mill average person.
Yes, has a normal engineering job, or as a teacher, or as a world traveler, and they want to stay fit and healthy, and they recognize they don't have the knowledge, and they hire me to help them out. Like those are 90%.
These are the people that would see a muscular guy at 5% body fat and go, ew.
Yeah, they wouldn't even want. They wouldn't even want that. That is who.
Weird.
And the irony when we came into this space, what we saw was other podcasters and Instagram people speaking to that very niche population. And I thought to myself, I kind of chuckled. I think we all did. We all kind of laughed and were like, "This is funny." All these meatheads are all fighting over the same 2%, maybe at best, probably 1% of the population that are like hobby, working out is a hobby to them. They love this. They go to these conventions. They think it's awesome. We're going to let all those guys fight over that 1%. We're going to go out and go talk to the 99% of the rest of the world that wants health and fitness involved in their life. And so, yeah, we don't really connect with that side the same way that we want to try and connect to the rest of the world.
It was, for me, the first time I went, it was like it was an interesting experience because I remember walking around. Remember, I'm in Columbus, Ohio. I think the Arnold Classic happens when it's kind of cold. So it was like snowy outside. It was freezing as shit. We walk into the convention because we walk from our hotel or whatever, and the dudes are wearing these little stringer tank tops and shorts and walking around like they're with their arms out, like they have massive lats, which a lot of them didn't. And, the girls are half naked and whatever. And I remember looking around going, wow. And then I thought, wait a minute, this is kind of like, this is what I'm into? Like, I had a little bit of a self-reflection. Like, there's a lot of body image issues in the fitness space, isn't there? And it was a really interesting experience. Like when you walk around that, you see all that, and you're like, wow, there's a lot of posturing kind of going on.
Yeah, that's a peacocking.
Yeah, it's really strange. I mean,
in my opinion,
no different than any other.
Right, no different than any other
conventions.
All
like
conventions.
That.
Yeah, I mean, you just get like, and to Justin's point, if it's your hobby, your passion, really in it, it's very selecting, right? Like you have a very small group of, when you're at the convention, it seems like, oh, this is everybody, but no, that's like the 1% of the people that actually hired us that wanted to get personal training, wanted to work out, wanted to get in shape. 99.9% of them would never be at one of those conventions.
I don't ever think I even had a client that would have been at one of those conventions.
That just shows you how rare or what small of a group that really is. But it seems like it's the majority when you're at them. If you're walking around these things, but they're really not. So we're talking about coming out to the Arnold Classic this year, and we're going to meet up with our good buddy Joe DeFranco. We may get a booth, we may not. We may just walk around and say hi to people.
Yeah.
We're going to throw a live event the same weekend out there somewhere that like our audience can go to and we can hang out with. So you'll catch us at one of these conventions. If we do, obviously we won't be selling supplements. We'll probably be giving out free T-shirts or just mingling with people and shaking babies.
I
and
want to
kissing
shoot
hands.
people with the shirt gun, though. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
that'd
that would be cool.
Next question is from the Lab Strength. What's in store for 2020?
Oh,
That's a loaded question.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's in store for 2020. I think without giving away too much, because obviously there's things that we maybe can't talk about publicly, but I think a big focus will be on value that we provide other fitness professionals and trainers in our space. I think one of the best ways that we can influence the fitness space is by influencing the people who train everyday people by giving them more and more resources and value and how they can provide better service to their trainers. But also because, I mean, they're the ones doing the work. You know, it's like if you think of it as a war, like a war against obesity, a war against chronic illness, it's the fitness professionals, the ones training people, the everyday people. Those are the soldiers. So I think 2020, we're going to find ways to really provide more value to those people.
There's a lot more opportunity than people realize too within fitness still in terms of like changing careers. And I think that's why we started to think in that direction a little bit more, just from the response of, oh my God, like they just found so much enjoyment out of, the information, and it got them excited to want to learn more and then start, a new journey towards maybe I could make this into a career. And I love that. I love that passion. That passion is what got us into this world. And I think that that's definitely something that we're going to try and, hone in on. Like, what does that look like? How can we help provide, even more materials and help for that person that is thinking about being serious and making a profession out of it?
I'll give you guys something that's related to the business behind the scenes that I think is maybe interesting to those that care about this type of stuff. When we first started the podcast, we did a really good job of providing so much value to the audience that when we decided to finally monetize, many people bought programs purely out of support because they were like, well, $100 for a program. I feel like you guys have already given me so much free content and information. This is a no-brainer. I want to help and support. And I really take a lot of pride in all of us doing that. And that was something that was important to all of us when we first started. And then the business grew and scaled, and year over year we've continued to grow and do well. And then eventually we brought on a marketing team, and then the marketing team really helped scale the business to the next level. In fact, we've even segmented this business to where the podcast is its own like standalone business, and it generates revenue through advertising and program sales. And then we have a whole nother side of our business that we actually don't even talk about on the podcast, which is the MAPS Fitness products, which is our email marketing and our Facebook ads back end, which helps support a lot of the growth that we've had over the last 2 years. Now, the problem with that is we've been so focused on our craft with the podcast and managing a staff and over here, and we've allowed our marketing team to go out and pretty much just keep scaling and growing that side of the house. And it's done an incredible job, but it hasn't done nowhere near the job that I feel like we have done with the podcast, where you come into an ad from Facebook and then you drop into our email sequence. We haven't put our fingertips or our hands on those emails and us as well as we did the podcast. And I think we all agree that one of the things that we for sure want to address in 2020 is to go back and look at what we're doing there and provide so much damn value to somebody who's never heard of Mind Pump. Because this was a big day for me. I'll never forget when this happened. Somebody, talking to our customer service side, so I'm talking to Ann on the back end. She's telling me about a product that somebody's got and they have questions. And when this happened about 1.5 years ago, we had somebody purchase a couple of our programs, and they didn't know who I was. And that was a really exciting moment for me, personally, just because I think that's so cool that we had scaled this thing so much beyond even the podcast, that we have people coming in, making purchases from our company that don't even know who Sal, Justin, or Adam is. And that was really exciting. Now, that also was very eye-opening for me, that we also weren't touching them the same way that we were touching the people that were in the podcast. So I know that in 2020, something that we want to do is address that side of the house that is getting material sent to them on a regular basis and being communicated from our customer service side, and improving that whole process. Even though it converts well for us, and the average person were to come in and look at it from the numbers, they would say, oh, you're doing great. You're making, 2-3x times what you're investing. You're killing it. Well, I think that we all agree that it's not just about that for us. It's about the whole process for somebody who comes in and onboards into our ecosystem. We want them to feel like they get so much damn value that anything and everything that we offer or we sell is a no-brainer to them, because they already feel like we've provided so much value to them. So personally, I think one of the things that I'd like to see us do in 2020 is to really go in and improve that. And then unfortunately, it may not affect anybody who's listening on this podcast if you're not a part of our back end and the email sequence process, but I think that's going to be a major focus of 2020.
Yeah, I think the idea is going to be to just be more effective, to continue to work at being more effective at what the core mission is, which is to change lives and help people in a very positive way as much as possible. So the more effective we get, the better, the closer we get to that goal. So, and with that, go to mindpumpfree.com and download our guides. They're all absolutely free. You can also find all of us on Instagram. You can find Justin at mindpumpjustin. You can find Adam at mindpumpadam. And you can find me at mindpumpsal.